Hey everyone, and welcome back. Are you ready to get a little dark today?
Sounds intriguing. What do we have lined up?
Today we're diving deep into the origins of Tolkien's ultimate evil Melkor, also known as Morgoth.
Ah, the original Dark Lord, a perfect choice for a deep dive.
I thought so too. To guide us on this journey through the dark side, we'll be drawing from two fantastic YouTube channels, The Broken Sword and Nerd of the Rings.
Both excellent sources for Tolkien lore. Where do we even begin with a figure like Melkor? He's such a complex character.
Well, both videos do a great job of setting the stage early on. They emphasize that he's not just some random bad guy who pops up. He's one of the Valar from the very beginning.
Right, the Valar. Think of them as these, angelic beings, almost godlike, who shape the world according to Iru's will. Iru being, well, God in Tolkien's legendarium.
So Melkor's one of the big guys, in a sense. Starts at the top. What makes him go rogue? What sets him apart from the other Valar? Why is he the bad apple in the angelic fruit basket?
Well, it's all about his ambition, his insatiable desire for, well, for a lack of a better term, ultimate power. He craved the flame imperishable.
The flame imperishable, that sounds intense. What is it exactly?
Okay, imagine a source of pure creative energy. Think of it like this. The power to give life itself. It's something even Gandalf, with all his might, only possesses a tiny fraction of.
So Melkor wants to be the ultimate creator. He's not content with just designing mountains or crafting, a really menacing orc army. He wants to be on par with Eru himself.
Exactly. He wants to be the ultimate power in the universe, the one calling the shots. And this ambition, this desire to possess the flame imperishable, leads him to a very dark path. It all begins during the creation of the universe.
Oh, wow. We're going back to the very beginning. Tell me more.
So picture this. The Ainur, these angelic beings, are shaping the formless void into a universe through music. It's a grand symphony of creation, a perfect, harmonious expression of Eru's will.
Okay, so the Ainur are like a divine orchestra, bringing Eru's vision to life.
Exactly. And then imagine this. In the midst of this beautiful, harmonious music, one voice rises in discord. That's Melkor trying to impose his own will, his own themes onto the symphony.
He's like, no, we're doing it my way.
Exactly. He's trying to disrupt the very fabric of creation.
Talk about a power struggle. What does Eru do about this? Does he just silence Melkor right then and there? Like, quiet down back there, you're out of tune.
Well, Eru, in his infinite wisdom, sees a bigger picture. He understands that true creation, true free will, requires the possibility of dissent, of rebellion, even if it's disharmonious.
So he's like a parent who understands that sometimes you have to let your kids make their own mistakes, even if those mistakes involve throwing a cosmic tantrum during the creation of the universe.
That's an interesting way to put it, but yeah, in a way. He doesn't squash Melkor's discord completely because he knows that without darkness, without contrast, there can be no true light.
So it's a calculated risk on Eru's part. He's essentially setting the stage for the grand drama that will play out across Middle-earth.
Precisely. And this is where Melkor's story takes a fascinating, albeit tragic, turn.
Tragic in what way?
He's allowed into Arda, the world, along with the other Valar. But his touch, once full of creative potential, becomes corrupted by his own desires.
So instead of using his powers for good, to help shape and mold the world, he starts, vandalizing?
Vandalizing, yes, that's a pretty good way to put it. Mountains shattered, seas churned into chaotic storms, all to mar the beauty the other Valar are striving to create.
So, wow, Melkor's really gone off the deep end, hasn't he? But, he can't just keep smashing mountains forever, can he?
You'd think that'd get old after a while, right?
Right. So what does he do next?
Well, Melkor, he's got this driving ambition, remember, this desire for true creation, and that leads him to establish his own little corner of the world, his fortress, Angband.
Angband. That name sends shivers down my spine every time I hear it.
It's not exactly a cozy hobbit hole, is it?
Not at all. So it's more than just a fortress, though, right?
Right. It becomes his base of operations, his laboratory, you could say, a place where he can further indulge his desire to create.
And that's where we get the orcs and the Balrogs and, of course, those terrifying dragons.
Precisely. Melkor's creatures are the stuff of nightmares.
They really are.
Yeah.
But this whole creation thing,
Mm-hmm.
it's still a bit fuzzy for me. Did he actually create these creatures from scratch, or did he, corrupt already existing ones?
It's a question that has puzzled Tolkien scholars for ages. The thing is, Melkor never possessed the flame imperishable, that spark of true creation. So he could twist, corrupt, even mock what already existed, but never truly create.
So no matter how impressive his creations seem, There's always this element of, like, secondhand creation.
Yes. It's like he's always working with someone else's leftovers, never quite able to achieve that pure act of creation that he so desperately craves.
And the dragons, those seem like the pinnacle of his creations, at least when it comes to, sheer destructive power.
Oh, absolutely. The dragons are fascinating. Think of them as fiery representations of Melkor's own rage and ambition.
So how does he create them if he can't actually create anything?
Well, he takes existing creatures, maybe reptiles of some ancient lineage, and warps them, twists them, imbues them with his own essence.
It's like he's playing a twisted game of evolution, speeding things up to suit his own dark purposes.
Exactly. And, all the while, the elves have established their kingdoms, and they possess something Melkor desperately covets, the Silmarils.
The Silmarils, of course, they're more than just pretty jewels, right?
Oh, much more. They were crafted by Fëanor, an elven prince. Imagine jewels so beautiful they make diamonds look like, I don't know, pebbles.
And their beauty is more than just superficial. What makes them so special?
Well, Fëanor captured the light of the two trees of Valinor within them.
Ah, right. The two trees, those were like giant lamps that illuminated the world before Melkor destroyed them, right?
Yep, that's right. So the Silmarils are like these, concentrated fragments of that primordial light that Melkor extinguished.
Okay, so I can see why he'd be obsessed with them. It's not just about wanting something beautiful. It's almost like he wants to possess them, to prove something,
Oh, yeah.
to defile something sacred.
Exactly, and defile he does. Melkor, in a truly audacious move, infiltrates Valinor, the hidden land of the Valar, and steals the Silmaril.
He just steals them. That's so brazen, even from Melkor.
It's a turning point in the story. This act sets off a chain of events that will lead to centuries of war and shape the very destiny of elves and men. And it's also what earns him a new name, Morgoth.
Morgoth, the dark enemy in Elvish, right?
Yes. It's fitting, don't you think? He's no longer just a Melkor, the rebellious Vala. He's fully embraced his role as the ultimate evil in Tolkien's world.
And to solidify that title, he enacts one of the most heartbreaking and disturbing acts in all of Tolkien's lore, the Curse of Hurin.
Now, that is a story for the ages. It really highlights the depths of Morgoth's cruelty.
So who is Hurin, and what makes him the target of Morgoth's special brand of evil?
Hurin was a human warrior, a proud and noble man who dared to defy Morgoth in battle.
And Morgoth does not take kindly to being defied, does he? What does he do?
Morgoth, well, he curses not just Hurin, but his entire family for generations to come. He ensures they'll suffer betrayal, despair, unimaginable loss.
He really knows how to hold a grudge, doesn't he?
You could say that. And for a time, it really seems like Morgoth is unstoppable. His armies control almost all of Middle-earth. But there is one place that remains free from his grasp. Gondolin, the hidden city of the elves.
Gondolin. Sounds like Rivendell, but with even more secrecy and probably even more elves.
It was a truly magnificent city. Even Morgoth, with his twisted sense of beauty, must have envied it a little.
But, I mean, we know how this goes. A hidden city in Middle-earth.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly going to stay hidden forever, is it?
You're right. Morgoth always finds a way. And this time, it's not brute force that brings Gondolin down. It's something far more insidious. Betrayal.
Ah, yes, Maeglin. He's what, a disgruntled elf lord, right? Blinded by his own ambition, kind of like Melkor in a way.
That's a good comparison. Maeglin craved power, position, things he felt were unjustly denied to him. And Morgoth, being the master manipulator that he is, saw an opportunity.
Oh boy, here we go. Classic Morgoth, preying on someone's weakness, twisting them to his will. What does Maeglin do?
He betrays Gondolin's location, of course. Leads Morgoth's forces right to its doorstep.
No way. After all the elves did to keep it hidden, that's rough.
It's a devastating loss for the elves, and it highlights one of Morgoth's most effective tactics exploiting internal divisions. Even the most powerful kingdoms have their cracks, and Morgoth was a master at wedging those cracks open.
So what happens next? Is this it? Does Morgoth just win?
Well, not quite. Remember, even in the darkest of times, there's always a flicker of hope. And in this case, that hope comes in the form of Arendelle, the half-elven mariner. He manages to escape the fall of Gondolin with one of the Silmarils.
Okay, so at least one of those incredible jewels is safe. But what can Arendelle do with it?
Well,
I mean, he's just one guy, right?
Arendelle, though, he's not just any guy. He set sail for the Undying Lands, the place where the Valar reside.
Wait, what? He's going to try and reach the Valar, ask for their help.
Exactly. It's a long shot, incredibly dangerous. But he's carrying one of the Silmarils, a beacon of hope, a symbol of the Valar's own creation.
It's like a desperate plea for help, embodied in that shining jewel.
Exactly. And amazingly, it works. Arendelle reaches Valinor and pleads for the Valar's intervention.
They actually listen. I mean, they've been pretty hands-off up to this point, haven't they?
They have. But the plight of Middle-earth, the threat Morgoth poses to all of creation, well, it's too great to ignore. So, the Valar finally decide to act. They unleash their full might against Morgoth in what's known as the War of Wrath.
Okay, this has got to be the most epic battle in history. We're talking gods versus, well, the original Dark Lord.
It's beyond anything anyone had ever seen. The earth trembles, mountains crumble, it's the ultimate showdown.
And what about Morgoth? What happens to him?
He's utterly defeated, of course, bound and cast out into the void beyond the confines of the world.
So it's finally over. Morgoth is gone. The good guys win. Everyone can breathe a sigh of relief.
Well, there's always a catch, isn't there? Morgoth may be gone, but the world is forever changed. Beleriand, the land where so much of this story takes place, it's shattered, sunk beneath the waves during the war.
A bittersweet victory, for sure. And I guess it speaks to the sheer power of Morgoth, that even in defeat, his actions have such lasting consequences.
Exactly. And, there are whispers, prophecies about a time when he might return. A final battle, Dagor Dagorath, when the world will once again shudder beneath his shadow.
A chilling thought to end on, but I guess that's the point of prophecies, isn't it? To remind us that nothing is ever truly certain, that even in victory, the potential for darkness remains.
And that perhaps it's that very uncertainty that makes the fight for good, for hope, all the more important, even in Tolkien's world.
Okay.
And maybe, just maybe, in our own.
A great note to wrap up on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. It's certainly given us all a lot to think about. Until next time, keep exploring those dusty old tomes. And remember, there's always more to uncover in the world of Tolkien.